Sorry, my bad. I forgot to record it. Well, I'll try to dig out the previous recording to see if there are some code here. Okay, number 28. I know them is apparently the answer for this one, but I'm trying to find out the answer. Okay, there are several answers for this one. One is very simple, just take this away. It's no use. Just put it up there, it's very strange, okay? Of course, you can add in a clause inside here. You can choose with which they change from caterpillar to adult via one intermediate stage, the pupa. That's it. So basically, this has complete, this is the subject. Undergo, this is the verb. And metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is the, let me explain this word to you, metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a worm changed into butterfly, okay? Butterfly, this kind of transformation of the body shape is called metamorphosis. But it seems that this word is very long, right? But basically, metamorphosis come out from two different roots. One is meta. Meta means across. Across. And morphosis, morph, M-O-R-P-H. M-O-R-P-H is form. So you see this one, metamorphosis. It refers to the change of the form across from one status to another status. That's it, metamorphosis. In our study, in research, there's a kind of research called meta-analysis. We call meta-analysis. So what is meta-analysis? So basically the key is here, across, right? So if, for example, if we want to know college student general attitude towards environmental protection, then there are many different approaches that you can take. One is to, I believe that there are many similar studies already done by different scholars, right? So I can just go on website to retrieve let's say I retrieve 20 different studies focusing on college students with different study population. Then I just analyze the 20 different research on the same issue. So I analyze across different articles. So this is meta-analysis. There's a Chinese for this one, called as 后设研究. 后设, it's kind of tricky. 后 is this one, 设计的设. 后面设计的 study. But anyway, meta refers to across, okay? So basically, this one can be just simply take this away. Damn, it's wrong. Just take it away. Change it because butterflies and the moths changed from caterpillar. It can be written in two sentences, right? Okay, if we take this away and put a period here, and this is one sentence. And the other sentence would be they T-H-E-Y, they change from caterpillar to adult. So if you want to combine them together, because they are using the same subject, just take the second subject away and change it to a gerund. That's it. Okay. And let's move to number 15. Okay, cholesterol is present. Basically, this complete the sentence. Subject, verb, be verb, and adjective as subject complement. But we have a where. Where is a subordinative conjunction. 从属连接词. So basically, we need to have a clause here. So which one can be a compound or mining, right? So we do not have subject, we do not have verb. So we have to find out. So basically, where it is a compound or meaning. That's it. So number 4, okay, no, D is the answer for this one. Okay, let's take a 10-minute break and come back again.
That did not take long. Just over 2 minutes into game 1 of the 2022 Memorial Cup. Jan Kuznetsov cashes in for St. John.
Well, the underdogs, the Sea Dogs, the hometown on their feet as the host team strikes first here. They haven't played in 30.
Dangerous there, and was kicked off by William Dufour. Here comes Hayes the other way instead. Flies it open for Morrison up the middle of the time. Scores! Ryan Winterton in front of the net pulls the trigger, and Hamilton strikes back on the power play.
Just a fantastic little play in tight. Winterton gets his 6th power play goal of the playoffs, and a good job on their second entry. They're able to command the puck and control entry right there, and it's just a simple little play. A breakdown defensively, a little bit too much time.
Tough with it. That pass off the skate. Now Jonathan Huberdeau takes a look. Wanted to know if anyone's coming with him. He's alone, scores! Huberdeau scores. That hits something and fooled Hauser. And Huberdeau, short-handed, makes it 3-2. Almost got that to his stick. Laser beam of a pass. Oh! Scores! Jonathan Huberdeau. He's a magician. How did he do that? He one-bounce one in from his own blue line. He's done it again, this guy. Play too. I don't think enough credit went that way for the job Willie Desjardins did.
Huge kill involving Matt Lowry and Milan Lucic. Lucic, the big forward. Rabbit with Rabbit. Pucks off the defender. Excellent diving play coming back by Trevor Glass. Milan Lucic throwing that 6'3", 220-pound frame all over the ice.
Domi. He was freaking in. Ratty stood up on him. Domi still got it in. Domi over to Horvat. He scores! Oh, great pass! From the Knights, and Bo Horvat on the power play has brought London to within one.
You want to talk about sick, and I mean sick skill? Watch what Domi does with this puck. It's right in his feet, but he goes between the legs to get it to Horvat. And that's why these two guys are going to be high first-round NHL picks. With a puck.
Sorelli, 2-on-1. He's got Latour with him. Sorelli.
Okay. Now take your seat.
Now it gets past him. Tobias Lindbergh trying to work his way to the net. He guarded the puck. Made a play to Carlisle. That gets through to Russell. It's a goal!
Okay, during the break, I played this one for you is because the reading for today is closely related to this. Canadian hockey game is very exciting, and it's unfortunate that I had never had a chance to enjoy in a real site. But if you see the YouTube recording, you will find out it's very exciting. And those athletes, they have been screened, trained, and been going through all the different process to become the elite of the elite so that they can play the game there, right? So do you want to become an elite? Well, that would be a very tough challenge for us, right? But if you try, you will never know what happened to you in the future. So let's go back to the reading for today and just give you some idea about how to become a good person, not necessarily an elite. So let's see this one, the Mathew effect. The Mathew effect refers to a very simple rule and simple truth. And it is a very simple reality reflected in our social practice. So lesson 4 is about Mathew effect. And we will use the example of the Canadian hockey team to give you some idea how you can become a better person. The first one, this is our line of the lecture. So what makes a person successful? Everyone wants to become successful, including me and you. Is that right? I don't believe that you are a loser by nature. No one can become a loser unless you define yourself as a loser. Everyone can be successful. Everyone can succeed in some way. Everyone has some sorts of talents that other people do not have, right? So, but in spite of different approaches and different ways that you can become successful, there are some major ingredients make a person successful. So today we will use a Mathew effect as the start to give you some idea. That is, how can you become a successful person? And of course, following the explanation and the illustration of the reading, we will continue our English etymology and also sentence structures. And by the end of today, we will have our assignments. Okay, first one, Mathew. If you are a churchgoer, you read Bible before Mathew, then chapter 25 and verse 29, it says, "For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that has not shall be taken away even that which he hath." What does this mean? Means that basically, for unto everyone, if someone who hath is the ancient English word for has, okay? For unto everyone that has. So everyone, if he has something, so unto him he shall be given. If you are able, then you should be given. That is basically the idea. So if you have the ability, then the society should give you the supporting resources. And he shall have abundance, okay? And he refers to the same one who has the ability, right? And he shall have abundance. Have abundance means that he should have a lot. Not only the resources, but a lot of resources for him to increase his ability, the other side. But from him, the first one is unto the one who has, right? But how about you do not have the ability? Him that has not should taken away from. So shall be taken away from the person who does not have the ability. So basically, if you do not have the ability, do not have the potentials, then you should be taken away all the resources from you, even that which he has. Even you previously owned some resources, then you will still be taken away. So basically, this is a comparison between two different kinds of persons. One is the person who has the ability. Then the whole system, whole society will give you the resources. And the resources are also abundant. But for the other kind of persons, the other kind of people who do not have the ability, even this kind of people have resources, then these resources still will be taken away from the system. So bad, right? So now we know this. If you are good, then all people, all the resources will be there for you. If you are not good, if you are not ready for yourself, then all the resources will be taken away from you. Then the whole society will not support you. Two different kind of scenario. Okay. For short, for a very, very short illustration of these two kind of people. If you are the one who has, then the society will provide you support. If you are the one who has not, then the society will abandon you. This is the so-called Mathew effect, 马修效应. Well, it seems very cruel, right? So let's continue to explore a bit. So let's first look at a match between two finance teams. So just like the video clips I played during the break, it's exciting. But here comes the story. One warm spring day in May of 2007, the Medicine Hat Tigers and the Vancouver Giants, so basically there are two teams, two hockey teams, right? Made for the Memorial Cup Hockey Championship in Vancouver, British Columbia. So just they are the background for you. This is a game for the championship of a hockey game. And there are two teams. One is Tigers, the other one is Giants, right? And both, here comes a little bit of illustration of these two teams. Both were the two finest teams in the Canadian Hockey League. Two finest, the best of the best. The CHL, okay, Canadian Hockey League, this one, Canadian Hockey League, CHL, is the finest junior hockey league in the whole wide world. So look at here. CHL is the finest junior hockey team in the whole wide world. And these two teams are the finest in this league. So they are the best teams in the whole wide world, right? Okay, this refers to the two teams hockey players, Tigers and Giants. These were the future stars of the sport. Because they are junior, because look here, junior hockey team, right? Junior means young. So around 15 to 18 years old, very young. They are not in the professional yet, but they are young, right? Okay, so they are the future star of the sport. 17, 18, and 19 years old who had been skating, shooting pucks since they were barely more than toddlers. So how many years they have practiced playing hockey? You name it, 17 years, 18 years, or 19 years, right? That's a long time. Actually, I played Go. Do you know Wei Qi? Wei Qi is a black and white stones, right? I'm very good at Wei Qi. San Duan, very good. And when did I start practicing playing this Wei Qi? From toddlers with my father, just like a game. So I was very good at Wei Qi. So that game, of course, I'm not an elite or Wei Qi player. No, not far away from that. Just for fun. But for them, they treat this as their own career, right? So starting from their age as a baby, just able to crawl on the floor. And then they start to play hockey games. So let's move on. So now we have Giants and Tigers, the two finest hockey team in the whole wide world, right? And those players, 19, 18, 17 years old, they started practice hockey since they were in the age of toddlers. Okay, so the setting of the game. The game was broadcast on Canadian national television. Up and down the street, you can see the street of downtown Manhattan, Vancouver. Memorial Cup banners hung from the lamppost. Lamppost is the street lights, right? Lamppost. So you can see there are so many banners out there shouting, yelling about the game. Everyone was crazy on the street. So the game was broadcast on the Canadian national television. So the arena means the stadium for the game. So the arena was packed, jammed with audience. People are there. Everyone is there. A long red carpet. You can imagine the scenario, right? A long red carpet was rolled out on the ice. So you can walk on there just like being treated as a VIP. And the announcer introduced, ladies and gentlemen, right? Just some kind of announcer. Announcer introduced the game's dignitaries. Dignitaries refers to the very important guests, VIPs. So the announcer says, first came the Premier of British Columbia's Golden Campbell. And you were the audience, right? So you clapped. Yeah, great. But that is not exciting enough. Why? Because the second one is even more popular than the Premier of British Columbia, Golden Campbell. The second one, then amid tumultuous applause, crazy, out walked Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn, one of the legends of the game. And the announcer now formally introduce Goldie Hawn. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer boomed. Mr. Hockey. So that is, you can see, Mr. Hockey is Goldie Hawn. So actually the player is much more welcomed and popular than Golden Campbell, right? Politician aside is not important, but the player is. So you can imagine this, how welcome, how popular hockey game is in Canada. Okay, so Goldie Hawn out, and let's move on, playing off. Now the game start. So Tigers and the Giants, how they play the game. First, for the next 60 minutes, the two teams played spirited, aggressive hockeys. So you can see that people just run into each other, boom, 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 and they don't care, and exciting, right? So spirited and aggressive hockey. So Vancouver Giant 3 versus Medicine Hat Tigers 1, 3-1. How did that happen? First one, Vancouver Giant scored first. The first one early in the second period on a rebound by Mario Brisnak. Okay, Vic. And late in the second period, it was Medicine Hat Tigers' turn as the team's scoring leader, Darren Ham, fired a quick shot past Vancouver's goalie. Goalie, the one to keep the gate, right? And Tyson Sexsmith. So now we have 1-1. And Vancouver answered in the third period, scoring the game's deciding goal, third one. And then now it's 2-1, right? And then when Medicine Hat pulled its goalie again, in desperation, Vancouver scored a third time. So now we have a 3-1. It seems a lot of excitement over there. So let's continue to observe what happened afterward. So let's see this one. Pride-filled air in the locker room. So they have finished the game. And who won? Of course, Vancouver Giant won the game, right? And the Tigers just lost again. And so Vancouver, everyone, if you were the reporters, you would certainly interview the team who won the game, right? And asked how they feel about the game and so on and so on. So in the aftermath of the game, the players and their families and the sports reporters from across the country crammed into the winning team's locker rooms. They just go there. No one went to visit the loser. They came up to interview, to have a lot of observation about how they react after the game. After they won the game. So the air, let's observe what is inside there. First one, the air was filled with cigar smoke and the smell of champagne and the sweat-soaked hockey gears. You can imagine a lot of men over there, right? So the cigarette, the smoked cigar, and open the champagne and the toast and shouting, yelling, a lot of sweat, a lot of smell too. Ugh, yuck. But this is the smell of success. The smell of success. They enjoy it. So on the wall, let's look at on the wall, was a hand-painted banner. Someone used their hand to paint a banner up there. Brace the struggle. Brace the struggle refers to that they have struggled all the way to win the game. So brace the struggle. And in the center of the room, the Giants coach Don Hay, stood misty-eyed, eyes with water, misty-eyed, right? Okay? And he said, I'm just so proud of these guys, he said. Yeah, of course, you won the game. You must be feeling proud of this, right? Just look around the locker room, and he continued to comment. He said, come on, guys, just look around the locker room. There isn't one guy who didn't buy in wholeheartedly. He gave his compliment to his team members, right? Well, that's what a coach needs to do. It's the right thing to do. So he was so proud of his team members. Okay, so this is what happened. And next, and let's think about this one. We have a coach, and he led a team, and his team won the championship of the Canadian hockey game. It seems that he has a group of the best players in his team, right? So let's think about how those players can advance in such a status to become the elite players in this CHL. Okay, so grooming the best. So let's try to review the process of how to become the best hockey players. Okay, so this start with this one. So if you take a look about Canadian hockey. Canadian hockey is a meritocracy. Meritocracy is based on how good you are. Meritocracy. Okay, let me explain this word to you. One, it starts from merit. Merit refers to good. Okay, good. And O-C-R-A-C-Y means the rule. It's a word related to political system, or the ruler is a crat. So basically, let me give you the form here. We have a different form, crat or crassy. Bureaucrat and democracy, bureaucrat. This refers to political system. Okay, so this system is based on how good you are, meritocracy. So can you say that, oh, I have a rich dad, so I should be in the team? No, you are not allowed because you are not good. You do not play good hockey, right? So you have to be good at that. So in one word, Canadian hockey is a meritocracy. You cannot win your way just because you are rich, you are powerful, or you have a great politician in the government. No, that does not count. Okay, let's go through the process. First one, thousands of Canadian boys begin to play the sport at the novice level. So this is novice level, right? From the very, very, very junior one, before they are even in kindergarten. So thousands of Canadians. Now I want to ask you one question. Okay, what is the subject of this sentence? Thousands of Canadian boys begin to play the sport and not at the novice level. Oops. What do you think? And this is also a roll call. Don't just copy and paste, okay? Think independently. You are you are not a copycat. And it also serves as a roll call if you did not type in and you are not here, okay? Okay, I'm going to end it right now. So 5 more seconds. Okay. So the answer for this one actually is not boys. It's not boys. Instead, it is thousands. Thousands, you may be a little bit puzzled about, of Canadian boys. Of Canadian boys actually is a prepositional phrase used to modify thousands. Thousands, what kind of thousands? Of Canadian boys. So this is a prepositional phrase. Boys is the object of, okay? So it is not a subject. The subject is only this one, thousands. Thousands begin to play sport. Very simple, right? So thousands of Canadian boys begin to play the sport at the novice level. So you can see that so many Canadian boys, they just start. When they are even in kindergarten, kindergarten. And from that point on, so starting from kindergarten, there are leagues for every age class. So the kindergarten league, and the first grade league, second grade league, third grade, and you can name it until to the junior hockey game, right? So for each, every age class, we have the so-called a league over there. So for each of those levels, the players are sifted and sorted and evaluated. For example, here you are in the kindergarten, right? So you play, oh, good. hit the puck, just, oh, and your parents say, oh, great, bravo, let's try again. And some of them really hit well, but most of them did not, right? So only some of them, they are very good, they will be sifted and sorted and evaluated, with the most talented separated out and groomed for the next level. So this is the next level. And only this one will go up here. Will just go up, and they will become part of the game here. Not all of them. A lot of others will just remain in the same league and play just for fun, right? So they are only part of them. So you can imagine, by the time players reach their mid-teens from 13 to around 14, 15, and so on, the very best of the best have been channeled into an elite league known as the Major Junior A. The Major Junior A consists of the players who have been selected throughout the system. They are around 13, 14, or 15 years old, and they will be in the Major Junior A league. And how can we regard Major Major Junior A league? Well, basically, which is the top of the pyramid? So this is the pyramid, right? So let's draw the pyramid here. So this is the pyramid we talk about. And the Major Junior A is here. Only a very small handful of the elite players can be sifted, sorted, and evaluated and elevated to this level. The majority of the players will be sifted here and down here. And some of them were able to get here, some others get here, some others get here, here, but only a very, very small handful of the players will be elected to the very top level. They are in the Major Junior A. And if your Major Junior A team plays for the Memorial Cup, just like the Giants and Tigers, right? Giants and Tigers, right? That means you are at the very top of the pyramid here. This is so-called very top of the top, very top. So you have to go through the process, right? Starting from your age as a kindergarten. And so every age group has a league. So throughout the process, only the very talented players will have the chances to go up, and then eventually you play the game. So if you are able to play the Memorial Cup, then your team will become the very best, very top of that pyramid. Is that right? So this is how we select players for the hockey players in Canada. Okay, so let's take a look at another one. So basically, starting from the very minimum one, very basic level, and up to the higher level, each process, basically this is a universal process for finding the best. Every career track, every business, every kind of sports, they all follow the same process. So that's why we say this is a universal. Universal means everyone is the same. Okay? Let me give you the idea of universal. Uni. What is the meaning for uni? Uni means one. And VERS means to turn. So AL is an adjective or non-ending, is a suffix. So what is universal? Everything is turned into one, right? So if we have a universe, this is a collective of being one. So we have a universe, right? So how about university? University is a place for you to learn everything. That is university, okay? So we just side talk. So let's talk about this here. So since we have identified universal process for finding the best, starting from the minimum and gradually coming up, and to the very top, right? Okay? So this is the way most sports pick their future stars. If we talk about sports, yes, this is the way. But how about other careers? Maybe the same, but let's take a look. Soccer. Soccer, you use your feet to kick the ball, and soccer is organized. The soccer is organized in Europe and South Africa, the same. Soccer player, right? How about Olympic athletes are chosen in this way too? They have to go through the local stadium practice for fun, and then sifted, sorted, and evaluated, and finally get into the Olympic game. And the world of classical music pick their future virtuoso, Nan Gaoying, right? Okay, and I'm not, apparently I'm not a singer of any kind. And the world of ballet picks their future ballerina. Ballerina is a female dancer for ballet. So, all the same. And our elite educational system picks its future scientists, intellectuals. The same. The same. So you can see here, if you are good, you will have the chances to be elected to the next level, right? If you are not, then you will remain in the same level. Maybe for good, for your whole life. But if you are good, then you have the chance to go up one level. And you compete with another peers on the second level. And if you are still better than the other one, then you have the chance to go up until to a level you are no longer able to move upward. Most of the people do the same thing. You, me, the same, right? Just like me. Okay? For example, my classmate in college, in high school, he is now the commander-in-chief for the army, for the national, for the army. He is army commander, 3-star generals. I'm here. So apparently, he has been sifted, evaluated, and to the top, right? People are different. But in terms of educational system, I'm certainly better than him because I got a PhD and he does not have. But people are different in many, many different ways, right? Okay, so let's move to the next one. So let's think about this one. Is this a meritocracy or not? Of course, this is a system based on merit, based on how good you are, but not how well connected you are. Okay, let's examine this. Why this is based on merit, but not about your richness, but not about your wealth, your popularity, no. And it is not related to how popular you are on the website. No, it's not. Okay, so here you cannot buy your way into major junior A hockey. You cannot buy. It doesn't matter who your father or mother is. What the heck? Who cares? Or who your grandfather was. Or what business your family is in. Even you are the son of, let's say, son Bill Gates, or grandson, great-grandson of Bill Gates. Does not matter. Nor does it matter if you live in the most remote corner of the most northern province of Canada. See, it doesn't matter where you are. You live inside Vancouver, or you live in a very, very far away countryside, in an igloo somewhere in the North Pole. It doesn't matter how remote you are. Everything is count on your individual merit. So it doesn't matter how well you are or how far you live from the center of the game. It doesn't matter, because everything is based on your own merit. Individual merit is the sole criteria. The only one, no one else, only one, how good you are counts. Okay? If you have the ability, then the vast network of hockey scouts and talent spotters will find you. So let's look at the statement here. So if you are good, if you have the ability, then everyone will find you. It doesn't matter how far you are. Eventually, you will stand on the stage because people will find you. Look at the word find here. Of course, others will come to find you, will come to locate your existence up there. And so, first one, let's try ability. It's very important. What about the second one? The second qualities you need to have is you need to have been willing to work and develop that ability. Then the system will reward you. Okay, for example, if you are good at play hockey game, right? So you are now 11 years old. You are now 11 years old. Then you are very good. Then the talent spotter came to you, say, hey, do you want to continue your career as a professional hockey player? If you say yes, then of course you have the willing, right? You are willing to work and develop that ability. Then the hockey league will provide you all the resources for you. Say, hey, I will transfer you to Canada, to Vancouver, and give you a full scholarship and train you. So this is will reward you if you have the willing. But how about if you say, no, I want to fish. I love fishing much more than playing hockey game. Although you have the ability to play very good hockey, right? But you do not have the willing. You do not have the will. You do not have the determination to develop your ability. Then the talent spotter will just stop there, right? And he will say, thank you, maybe next time, if I have the chance, I will come to talk to you. So here, we have two things. The first one, you must have the ability. Once you have the ability, then the system will find you. The system will come to you. The next one, for you to become successful, to become an elite player, then you must have the willing to work to develop that ability. Willing and ability. Ability comes first. Willing comes the second, right? So now you have the two major important ingredients for you to become success. How can you become a successful person? You need to have the ability. The second one is you must have the willing to develop that ability. If you have both, congratulations to you. The system will reward you. Okay? So let's look at the second statement. Success in hockey is based on the individual merit. And both of those words are important. Both of the two words, what do we mean here? One is individual, the other one is merit. So players are judged on their own performance, not on anyone else's. Okay, so it's you, your own performance. On the basis of their ability, but not on some other's arbitrary fact. So everything is about you, yourself. So you must individual merit is very important. Let me point out one more time. Individual merit, your own ability. So what is the base for you to become successful? In order so that the system will reward you, first, you need to have the ability. The second one is that you must have been willing to work or develop that ability. If you have both, 1 and 2, then the system will reward you. Very simple, right? Imagine this. Let me give you the example of myself. I'm not a great man, but I have been successful in some aspects. Let me give you some idea. Let me talk about the pyramid of competition first. This is my college life, okay? When I was in college, okay, I was good at my academic achievement. So basically, I ranked top 5 of all the graduate students in the same years. So in this regard, I was able to move up. So the school, my school, asked me to stay in the school to lead the junior students, cadets, for 1 year. So I stayed here. And after 1 year, I was assigned to another unit. And because I performed well a little bit, so I was able to move up. I was a little bit better. So I was moved up to another stage. And after 4 years, because I was good, I also performed a little bit better than my peer. So I have the ability of English communication, and I was good at my academic performance. So I was selected by the Ministry of National Defense to go abroad to study my master's degree. So imagine this, I was a little bit better than others. So I'm here. So the rate part refers to the military officers assigned by the Ministry of National Defense to go abroad to study for my master's degree. So I took 2 years to study, and I found that I was still a little bit better than the other students, than the other officers. So after another 4 years, I was elected by the Ministry of National Defense again for my PhD, doctoral degree. So all the way up, am I really good, better than others? Not that good, but I have the ability, and also I have the willing to develop that ability. How can I say that? Because when my senior officer came to me and asked me, hey, Daniel, do you want to go to the United States? If at that time I say, oh no, I thank you, I want to take care of my dogs. If I say that, I did not have the willing to develop that ability, right? So, because even though I have the ability, but I did not have the willing to develop, I will just stop there, somewhere here. But all the way, I earned my PhD. And after I earned my PhD, and I found out that through the competition, another test, I was selected by the government to go to the United States to become a senior fellow for the Atlantic Council of the United States. So up again, a little bit again, just that. So you can see all the way. You know, if you want to become, to study for a doctoral degree in military, how much money, how many resources that the system has to devote it for you? For me, a lot, right? Imagine this. If I, just like other peers in my age, I stay here, then I will be just like here. I will have no chance to earn my PhD. I would have no chance to to become a senior researcher at the Atlantic Council of the United States. And eventually, I will have no chance to come here to become a professor in Wenzao. Is that right? So even though I have the ability, I must have the willing to develop that ability. But remember, that is not all. the way I could go through all the different process and come into Wenzao. Who has the most contribution? Me? My father? My parents? No. All the process are supported by the system. So the third most important ingredient for you to become success is the system, including where you study. You are now studying at Wenzao, right? If you compare Wenzao with your classmates, your previous classmates' school, then there must be some differences. What is Wenzao? And let's look at the classroom here. The infrastructure of the classroom, I believe that must be much better than others, I believe. And the professor's way of teaching must be a little bit better than others, I believe. So this is infrastructure, this is system. So how can you become successful? One, your ability. Second, you're willing to develop that ability. Third, the system provides you the resources for you to develop that ability. So without one of them, you have no chance to become successful. So the answer here seems very simple. How can you become successful? You must be good at something. The second one, you must be willing to develop that ability. And the third one is that once you are spotted, then the system must be there to support you. The system is the most important part. Without the system, your ability, your willing could not do too much because you need money. How much money you have to study abroad? You will know. A lot of money, right? If you do not have the system, when we talk about system, what does that mean? Well, it includes a lot of outside factors. For example, your family support, your school that you have studied now, right? The environments and the peers, your friends, and so on. Everything outside of you can be called as part of your system. So the system is very important. So when you say you are successful, don't brag yourself. Don't brag yourself because the credits are to the system, but not to you. Of course, you are very important to some extent. You have to be good first, right? And now let's come to here. So here we say you need to have the ability. Then what kind of ability you must have? Let me remind you, not necessarily the ability to study hard. No, not necessary. Studying is only one part of life. You could have many different kinds of talents. You could. For example, if you are good at communication, then you can become successful too, because some other career jobs require people who are good at communications. If you are good at drawing, right, then you can be good at that, and you practice a lot. If you are good at the violins, then you can play that. Even if you are good at, let's say, you're running an online shop, operating an online shop in Shopee, and you found that you are very good at that, you can develop that ability. Then you will find out that the system around you will become very supportive. So basically, you have to find out what you are good at and try to develop that ability. Everyone is good at many different aspects. So no one is the same. No one is the same. I was good at studying, maybe. My classmate in high school, he is now as the general commander of the army for our Republic of China, a 3-star general. He was good at leading. Everyone is good at a different spot, right? you can be good at something and try to develop that. And once you develop that ability, you have the willing, surprisingly and amazingly, you will find out the assistant will come to you to say, hey, and will say to you, hey, do you want more assistances from us? You will find out, you will find your peers over there. So try to nurture your own ability. Okay? Let's take a 10 minutes break. Lecture. So we have found out this is a system based on merit, and you must have some ability. The second one is you must have the willing to develop that ability. So if you do so, then you have individual merit. But I have just fast forward the importance of the system. Until now, the slide did not mention about system, right? So that's why, are they only two good enough? Your ability and the willing to help develop that ability are both good enough. Well, and this book come out from the title called Outliers, about men and women who do things that are out of the ordinary, not so ordinary people. Over the course of the chapter ahead, I'm going to introduce you to one kind of outlier after another, to geniuses, business tycoons, rock stars, and software programmers. And we are going to uncover the secret of the remarkable lawyer. Just give you some basic idea about the book, Outlier, the book. Look at what separates the very best pilots from pilots who have crashed a plane. Try to figure out why Asians are so good at math. Okay, so the main argument of this book is, and in examining the lives of the remarkable among us, the skilled, the talented, and the driven, I will argue, there is something profoundly wrong with the way we make sense of success. Traditionally, we believe that individual merit is very important. You must be good. If you are very good, and if you have the willing to develop that ability, then you will be successful. This is a traditional notion. But there is something wrong about this traditional notion. Let's take a look. What about that? Then let's ask about the question. We always want to follow those people who are successful, so we can try to mimic their approach, then we can become successful, right? So we want to know what they are like. For example, what kind of personality they have. Benjamin Franklin, and there are many others. And why they become, they must have something unique to us. So they become successful. And how intelligent they are, they must be very smart. And what kind of lifestyles they have, and what special talents they might have been born with. So basically, we'll focus on individual merit, right? If they have the merit, some sorts, they become successful. So if they become successful, they are so successful. So if we just try to learn their merits, maybe we can become successful too. Because we all focus on individual merits, right? We have assumed that it is those personal qualities that explain how the individual reached the top. They are good. But Outliers, the book, argued the other way. And the other way is about the importance of the system. Let's move on. So before we go deeper about the recipe provided by the book, let's look at the usual template for becoming successful. Normally, we have seen people from the modest to great. Is that right? We'll always see a great man starting from a very humble setting. Eventually, become very great. Let's look at here. So autobiography published every year by the billionaire, entrepreneur, rock star, celebrity. The storyline, look here, is always the same. The story is always the same. Okay, our hero is born in modest circumstances, and by virtue of his own grit and talent. Look here. This hero tried very hard, and then become success to become greatness. So it doesn't matter what kind of successful persons you follow with. You are capable of reading, when you read their autobiographies, they always start with follow the same storyline. They had a very humble beginning, and then through their own individual struggle, and then they become great, right? Humble and great, modest and great. Okay, let's look at a different example. Joseph in the Bible first. Joseph is cast out by his brother and sold into slavery, and then rises to become the Pharaoh's right-hand man on the strength of his own brilliance and insight. So if you read the Bible, you will know Joseph's story, okay? The second one is Edgar's novel. In the famous 19th century novel of Horatio Edgar, young boys born into poverty, poor boys, rise to riches through a combination of pluck and initiative. Pluck means luck, and initiative, creative by his own. So a lot of efforts, right? And let's look at Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush is the younger brother of the Bush, George Bush, the president, okay? And he said, when he ran the governor for Florida, and he said, I think overall it's a disadvantage. What it says about it, its connections to his two presidency in his own family. His father was a president. His brother is also president. And he said, oh, come on, don't mention it. It's a disadvantage. Jeb Bush once said of what it meant for his business career. He was the son of an American president and the brother of an American president, and the grandson of a wealthy Wall Street banker and the U.S. senator. My goodness, your father is a senator, and your father is a president, and your brother is a president, and your grandfather is a wealthy banker and a senator, and you say it's a disadvantage. What he say? He say he refers to everything. He always referring himself as a self-made man. He said, I am successful because of myself, not because of my father, my grandfather, or my brother. Because of me, I become successful because I made myself. So he referred himself as a self-made man. So when he ran the governor of Florida, he repeatedly referred to himself as a self-made man. It is a measure of how deeply we associate success with the efforts of the individual. That's Phil Battle and I at that description. Basically, you say you become successful because you are good. You did everything that you can, so you try very hard, you struggle all the way, so eventually you become successful. It's all about you, not else. My father, president, nothing related to me. My brother, president, nothing related to me. And my grandfather is a wealthy senator, is not related to me either. All the success are made by me. People love to do this. People love to say this, right? It seems that the system, the outside factors beyond Jeb Bush are not related to his success. Okay, so this is what we think about a successful person. A successful one must be good at something by himself only. And let's take another example, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin And let's see, in front of the crowd, many years ago, at the unveiling of a statue of that great hero of American independence, Benjamin Franklin. It's a statue for Benjamin Franklin. And Robert Wenzao said, "Lift up your heads, please lift up your heads, and look at the image of a man." The man Franklin, right? So what is the man? What the man is, he said, who rose from nothing. Okay, these are used to describe the statue of Benjamin Franklin. And let's look at the Benjamin Franklin himself. Okay, what about him? He rose from nothing. Wow, that's great. He rose from nothing. Who owed nothing to parentage or patronage. So his father, his mother had nothing to do with his success. And his friends' donation contribution has nothing related to his success. And who enjoyed no advantage of the early education which are not open, 100-fold open to yourselves. Actually, Benjamin Franklin did not receive formal education. He was privately tutored by his own family teacher. So, no, he did not go to school. Okay, fine. Who performed the most menial service in the business? Make coffee and walking serve table, and in which his early life was employed. But who lived to stand before kings, and died to leave a name which the world will never forget. Wow, look here. Starting with a very simple, humble beginning, and rise to greatness. Stood before king and died with a name that will be remembered forever. Benjamin Franklin is so cool, right? Okay, let's move to the next slide. This is the traditional, Benjamin Franklin, it seems to be a person rising up from nothing and ending up with a great man remembered by people forever, right? And his success, as Robert Winthrop has indicated, has nothing related to his parents, to his friends, and whatsoever. All the success for Benjamin Franklin was done by himself. But, is that so? Not really. Not really. Because without his parents, without his friends, he has no chance to stand before the king. Okay, so all the success were not done by himself alone. Let's move to. This is the traditional notion of success. Really does not work. Does not work. Why? You cannot only have the ability and are willing to develop the ability, and eventually you success. You become successful and you say, everything is done by me. This is the traditional notion, but this is not workable. In the book Outliers, the author wants to convince us that this kind of personal explanation of success don't work at all. Not really. Why? People do not rise from nothing. We do, this is the most important thing, we do owe something to parentage or patronage. We do. The people who stand before kings may look like they did all by themselves. Benjamin Franklin did by himself, but in fact, this is very important. They are invariably the beneficiaries. Invariably means that unavoidably, the receivers of good things, of hidden advantages, and extraordinary opportunities, and the cultural legacies that allow them to learn and work hard and make sense of the world in ways others cannot. So look at myself. I was good at studying, and I have the willing to develop that ability. But, can I say everything I have done was because of myself? I became successful because of my own ability, my own individual merit. No. Look here. Without patronage, someone to support you, someone to support me. Without a scholarship from the Ministry of National Defense, I would have no chance to go to the United States, right? So your success will be supported by others, will be furnished, will be provided for you to become successful. So basically, we need others. It makes a difference where and when we grew up. It's so sad, right? Where and when we grew up. If you were born in, let's say, in a very backward village in, let's say, in African bush, the only thing you would worry about is how to have another meal, right? Instead of how to study hard. So where and when we grew up is definitely making a difference. The culture we belong to and the legacy passed down by our forebears shape the patterns of the achievement in ways we cannot begin to imagine. So basically, we are all beneficiary to someone else. We cannot stand alone and say, hey, everything is done by me alone. No, it's not. It's not. So it's not enough to ask what successful people are like. So if you only focus on the individual personalities of those successful people, that's not enough. In other words, it's only by asking where they are from that we can unravel the logic behind who succeeds and who doesn't. Imagine this, of course, you are now at Wenzao, for example. Wenzao is a choice, maybe not the best choice. But I'm quite sure about one thing. It's a better choice if you had gone some other places. Right? And the better choice, imagine this. After 4 years of the education, this is the educational system provided for you. Wenzao regard education seriously. Some other schools don't. I know that. Some others don't. And you are lucky enough to some extent. You are here. So enjoy. Enjoy the system. What the system can provide for you. It's good. It's good. And I feel the same level of lucky. Feeling lucky just like you. Because when I work in Washington, D.C., and before I tried to come back to Taiwan in around 2005, Wenzao just opened a vacancy for professor. So I came. If at that time Wenzao did not have the vacancy for professors at this department, I would not be here. And I love Wenzao because Wenzao is a decent school. They don't cheat. That's good enough, right? And they don't torture professors. That is also good. Okay, so every luck you have does not only come out from you. It's come out because of the environment, because of the setting. Everything around you has the contributions. Okay. So the setting around you matters, indeed. Where you are, where you were from is very important. So let's talk about biologists. Biologists, those people who specialize in biology, often talk about the ecology of an organism. For example, the tallest oak in the forest is the tallest, not just because it grew then from the hardest acorn. Do you know what is the acorn is? Acorn? You know? You know, right? Yeah, students from outside of Taiwan may have some idea about acorn. But here we are in Taiwan, maybe some of the students, most of the students would not have an idea about acorn. But have you ever watched the movie called Ice Age? Ice Age, right? And the squirrel always run after some seed, right? That seed is an acorn. Acorn, 橡树籽. It's a very, very commonly see it in the United States, but we rarely see this here in Taiwan. But that is acorn. So we say that this is the tallest oak tree, right? It is because it has the strongest seed, acorn, but not necessary. Because the ecology is very important. 生态, everything around you is very important. Why? Here comes the explanation. The tree is the tallest because, not only because of the strength of the acorn, but also no other trees block its sunlight. Well, the tallest tree, right? No other trees block its sunlight, so it is the only one happily growing up. Good. Oh, here comes the acorn from later. And the soil around it was deep and rich. See? The acorn dropped from the top of the tree and onto the soil on the earth, right? And it just luckily dropped into the soil that is deep and rich. And also no rabbit, it's cool, no rabbit chew through its bark as a sapling. When the oak is small and no rabbit just chew its bark, luckily, right? And no lumberjack cut it down before it matured. When it was still young and no one cut it off. So that's good, see? Everything is tailored to its growth. The soil is rich, no rabbits running around, no people trying to cut it down. So lucky, right? And no trees block its sunlight. Lucky tree. So that's why it is the tallest. The settings is very important. Okay? So we all know that successful come from hardy seeds. Yes, indeed, must be good. You must be good. See, hardy seeds means that the seeds have the ability, right? Ability. But do we know enough about the sunlight that warms them? The system. The system warms them. The soil in which that put down the roots, the rich soil allow the roots to grow strong. And the rabbits and lumberjack that were lucky enough to avoid, see, we can see all here, all of these conditions cannot be made by the seeds alone, right? The seeds have nothing to do with this. The seeds. A few days ago, I found a very tiny tree growing from the crack of the wall on the sunroof of my building. It's a very tiny tree. You look at that tree, no soil around it. Of course, there is enough sunlight. Sporadically, it will have water because of the rain, right? But look at the surrounding. It is a wall, concrete wall. And it's a very small tree. So it's just there. And how big it can grow, I doubt. I doubt, right? But the same seed, if it jump onto a rich soil, it will have a greater chance to become bigger and bigger, right? But definitely not this one, because it runs into a bad environment. Setting, the ecology around you is very important. Okay? So the context of the outlier, not a book about old tall tree, not to tell you how to become a tall tree, but it is a book about forest. Not about you. Of course, you yourself can have the ability, can have the willing to develop that ability, right? But it is the setting around you, the whole forest around you, make it possible for you to become strong, become taller. Is that right? Hockey here is a good place to start because the explanation for who gets to the top of the hockey world is a lot more interesting and complicated than it looks. And in fact, it's downright peculiar. It's very unique. So let's take a look. Look about yourself. And appreciate for this map here. Okay, I need to show it up. And this is a cone. So imagine this. You are now an acorn, right? Acorn. Where you locate does matter. If you just happen locate, just cram into the crack of the wall, a concrete wall, you can grow to some extent. Eventually you will die out earlier, right? If you, the acorn, jump into the soil around you is rich, wet, and deep, allow you to grow, have a healthy roots. And around you, there's no squirrel to dig it out, no rabbit to chew your bark, and also no lumberjack try to cut it off. And the sunlight is good enough. You have the very good chance, since you are a hardy seed, a healthy seed, acorn, right? Then you will have the better chance to grow up tall and become successful. So look here. If you always claim, you make yourself, you can become successful because of only you. Is that possible? No. Where you are, where you from, indeed, can make you success or not. So what are the ingredients for being successful? 3. 1, your own ability. 2nd, you're willing to develop that ability. And 3rd, the setting around you, the ecology. The ecology around you, the setting around you, the system around you is very important. Okay? So now, in terms of educational setting, at least you come to a right place. Enjoy. Okay. Okay, let's move to etymology. Canadian hockey is a meritocracy. Thousands of Canadians begin to play the sport at the novice level before they are even in kindergarten. So meritocracy, we talk about this, and we know it's about to earn good, you have to work hard to earn merit. And crat, art, crazy, and archy means ruler, chief, government, political system. For example, we must know this word, democracy. Do you see this one? Political system, right? And how about demo? Demo means people. So a government ruled by people. 民主政治, is that right? Okay. And let's put autocracy, autocracy. A government ruled by one person, self, ruled by yourself. So we say that is autocracy refers to a political system not free, because this one is is only ruled by one person, yourself. You made yourself as the ruler, 专制体制, autocracy. Okay, so basically, crat, crazy, or archy refers to ruler, political system. So meritocracy is a system ruled by the rule that you have to earn to become a good one. You have to earn yourself out. And the other one is novice. Novice here, nov, means new. For example, there's a very famous word here. We know novel, right? Novel is something created new. It's not real, novel. So we say that is fiction. Fiction is also, they are synonym, right? Novel is something created new, newly created. So it's not real, 小说. But how about fiction? Fiction is something made. Still remember FAC, FEC, FIC, right? It is to make or to do. So look here. This is made by people. So this story is made, 小说. Okay, novel refers to fiction. But how about we say novel? The emphasis is on the second syllable. Novel means new. It's an adjective, new. It's a completely new novel, okay? And let's move to sentence structure. Canadian hockey is a meritocracy. And this one is very simple because hockey is the subject. Is a be verb. And meritocracy is subject complement. So we can use this one. Hockey, is that right? Subject is be verb. And meritocracy is subject complement. And what kind of hockey? Canadian hockey. So you see there's a slash here, right? So Canadian hockey is is used to modify meritocracy. So the core component, subject, be verb, subject complement is here. So now we can have the structure just like this. Subject, be verb, and a subject complement. And when we say subject complement, subject complement. Complement refers to used to complement subject. So basically, this one is equal to subject. So what is hockey? Hockey is a meritocracy. So they are equal, okay? So this is very simple sentence structure for you. Okay, any questions so far? And now let's give you some idea about the subject complement. Subject complement appears in many different forms. There are only two occasions you need to use subject complement. The first one is subject with a be verb or subject with a linking verb. Linking verb just like look, smell, and sound. This kind of word we call linking verb, 连接动词. So either it is a be verb or linking verb, you have to follow with a subject complement, 主词补语. And for be verb, there are three kinds of subject complement. Either can be a noun, adjective, or adverb for time or place. And how about the other one, linking verb? Can have only two forms. One is a noun, the other one is an adjective. Okay, so here, let's take a look. Canadian is a meritocracy. It's a noun, right? And it is peculiar. It is adjective. The selection of an insect, the skeleton of an insect is on the outside of its body. Look here. This is the adverb. Why? Look here. On the outside of its body. This is noun. Object for on. On the outside of its body. So there are two segments here. One, this one of the body is used to modify outside. And outside is the object of the preposition on. So this is adjective used to become the subject complement for skeleton. Okay? So the skeleton of insect is on the outside of its body. So this whole segment is the subject complement. It is the adverb for praise. And about linking verb, we have, for example, became and looks, right? So Joseph became the Pharaoh's right-hand man. This is a subject complement for Joseph. And it looks like a giant arc. Like a giant arc is a prepositional phrase. Remember, like is a preposition. So like a giant arc is an adjective. Serve as a subject complement for it. We will do this more in our workshop for sentence structure. But for now, just give you some idea. When can we use subject? When should we use subject complement? When we have be verb or linking verbs. Okay? Then let's move to assignment. Assignment number 1, Canadian hockey is a meritocracy. In the real life around you, I want you to identify one thing that is mostly based on meritocracy. Then elaborate your rationale. And people from different countries may have different ideas about what are the things closely related to meritocracy. Name some. There must be some up there, and you may try to find it out. And the most important part is you need to elaborate. What does it mean to elaborate? To explain deeply, describe deeply, okay? Provide a deeper explanation, but not just say, hey, it is a meritocracy. No, you have to provide reasons and arguments. And let's move to the next one. Are you an outlier or an ordinary person? Let's just give you some thoughts. Everyone should be different, right? So you could discuss with your team members, but of course, all of the answers to the assignments must be written by yourself. Okay? So you ask yourself, are you an outlier or ordinary person? And before you can really answer this one, you may want to explore the real meaning of outlier and ordinary person. Try to identify the definition of these two terms. And try to use the definition of the two terms to identify yourself. Your behaviors, your thoughts, your ideology, your cultural thinking, and so on, to think whether you are about the same or you are very outlying over there. Okay, and remember, there's no wrong or not right or wrong to say, hey, I'm an outlier, I'm better than you. No, not really. Okay, and to become an ordinary person is good too. Okay, it's all up to you. And I just want you to first explore the definition of these two terms, and second, identify these two terms with yourself. Okay. And number 3, if you like, you can find a copy of Outliers and the Story of Success and read it and write a 300-word essay to synthesize here the logic behind who succeeds and who doesn't. Try to identify the reasons why people become successful. As we say, an acorn cannot grow into a tall tree just because of itself. Is that right? The ecology of the acorn is very important. No rabbits, no lumberjack, and good soil, no other trees, and so on. There are many other considerations. All of these outside factors cannot be done by the acorn itself. Is that right? So try to find the copy either from me or library or from the website. You could find a lot of resources by yourself. Okay, so these are the 3 assignments for us for today. And we still have a 10 minutes break, 10 minutes before the class dismiss. And now I have to move on to another process. Tomorrow at classroom Q307, 3 floors below here, there will be 2 Pearson proficiency tests. And we have 2 groups of students. The first group will take the test between 3 and 4:30, and the other group will between 4:30 and 6 p.m. So basically, each group had 90 minutes of the time. 90 minutes of time. Before taking the test, I need you to stay here, and I will hand you a consent form for using your personal information to set up your test. So I need you to sign here. So all the students in the 2 groups stay here, including the other room, and take the consent form, just fill in your school ID and your class, your school ID, and also sign. And the test date is tomorrow, so you should put 111, 111 year 111, and month is October 10, and the date is 12. So the students taking the tests, assigned to take the test, please stay. And I will distribute the consent form to you, and you sign your necessary information here. Basically, this one is in Chinese, but the contents is very simple. In order to take the test, the school has to assign you the ID and password, so they require your personal information, your school ID, and your email address, and your name, so they can contact with you. That's it. And afterward, if you achieve a certain level of the certain level of English proficiency, and the school will set a rule to award you some reward, and they require your personal information too. So this is why they want you to sign. So all the students taking the test stay here, and the other student in the other classroom, if you take the test, please also come to this classroom. We will distribute the consent form altogether. So students not taking the test, you may leave now. And students need to take the test, please come to this classroom now. Okay, you can move.